Hey folks at e-commerce 360. Today we have Robyn from Pretzel Kids. Pretzel Kids is actually a training course that provides kids yoga classes to families and schools as well as online classes. So great book. Robyn, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
So Robyn, let's talk about how you got onto this journey of helping kids with mindfulness and yoga.
Yeah, absolutely. So Pretzel Kids is sort of, I like to call it my other baby. I have three sons that are now young adults. But when I initially started Pretzel Kids, it was not a company in its current form. It was a program that I ran under the umbrella of my then yoga studio, which I sold and closed in 2016. And when I initially started Pretzel Kids, my kids were really young, and I saw a need for helping kids gain tools to help them regulate their emotions as well as get fit and have a love of fitness and being able to keep themselves calm in difficult situations. So I saw that the earlier you start the kids in yoga and mindfulness, the more equipped they are as they go through their life. So this was a really big goal and mission of mine. So when I have my yoga studio, I started running Pretzel Kids classes just as an add-on after school program out in the community in schools as well. And parents and schools and the kids absolutely loved it at the time. So this was probably 2005 when I started running the classes. I was able to get the domain name and trademark for Pretzel Kids, not knowing that, here I am 15, 16 years later would be running it as a company. So that really served me well doing that in the early initial stages before it was so difficult to, coin a name.
So,
And that's
so how did you actually, combine the challenges of having three kids, running your home, running the school, and then starting your own yoga studio, building a brand, trademarking it? How did it all come together? Because I know it's going to be, it should have been very, very tough for you to manage all, juggling all these responsibilities. How did
yeah.
you go about it?
Yeah, it wasn't easy. I mean, it took a lot of balance and time management, which I'm not always that great at. I will admit that. But at the time when my two boys were young, I was actually a single mom, so that made it even harder. And I had a yoga studio. I then, while running my studio, met my now husband, who had a son of his own. So combined, we had three. And just having his support on this journey really helped me a lot because doing it all alone is really hard. But when my kids were young, I had my yoga studio. That was also a passion and a mission of mine to grow a community-based wellness studio, and was able to do a lot while they were in school, while they were sleeping. I won't say it was easy, but was able to somehow pull it off. Then as they got older and they were in school more hours, I would just efficiently plan my time to get a lot done. I had help as well. I had, after school care and babysitters and that type of thing as I was growing the studio business. When I sold the studio business, they were older. They were in high school or college. So they were kind of off doing their own thing. And so that was really the ideal time for me to sell my physical studio and spin off Pretzel Kids as its own company. It was also the right time in the market where parents and schools no longer needed the education that they needed in my early stages when it was a program, as far as why is this important? How can this help kids? Mindfulness was a buzzword.
Yeah.
Everybody knew it was important. So the timing was really right to really launch Pretzel Kids and really fill a void in the market for curriculum-based, play-based kids yoga and mindfulness classes. So that's what I did at that time. And now Pretzel Kids is virtual, meaning I don't have a physical studio anymore. So I love being able to run my business wherever I am. So that makes it in that respect easier, but at the same time I'm building a scaling company, and I've got member teachers, a team, schools that I contract with. So it's definitely growing and exciting.
So great that you brought it up, right? So I was thinking about, yeah, running a yoga studio is challenging, is tough, but then launching an online business, a training course online, when there are like a zillion other online courses, is going to be humongous. So how did you get on to that journey, and where did you start? How did you go about acquiring customers or even visitors to your website? Building a website, building a brand, all that must have been quite a bit of a nightmare, right? So how did you go about that?
Yeah, so it's not easy, but I think in 2016, 2017, when I knew the time was right for a company like Pretzel Kids, it was a matter of how do I scale it, right? You can do well as a small business with a community-based studio running classes in suburban Boston, which is what I was doing. And I was also running training. So I was running weekend teacher trainings to teach others how to teach our curriculum so that they could go out and teach this as well. So that was kind of my first foray into how to scale this. I can't teach them all myself. I need to train other people. So then the digital platform came out of that, right? So I started getting requests from people that wanted to train, but it was too expensive to travel to one of our weekend training locations. So I built out an online dashboard with a way for students to basically take the training from their couch, from wherever they were. So that was the first kind of wave of where we are now. And that happened in 2017. And then from there, I realized, well, this is great. They can train online, but then what? These teachers are left with no support and no tools to actively get booked for jobs in their communities, because a lot of our teachers are educators, they're moms, just like I am, and juggling a lot. And so I know what that's like if they want a side hustle and extra income stream. And or those that just love yoga or fitness that are like, oh, this would be great. But then they take the training and then what? They don't know how to actually take it from I've learned these skills to I will get jobs using these skills, which is a different skill, right? It takes, you need to know how to hustle. You need to know how to market yourself. There's branding. Do I need a website? What booking platform do I use? There's all of these questions. So out of a need grew what we now have is called the Pretzel Kids Teacher Association. So the teachers take our course and then move into the membership, which month to month we supply them with the marketing materials, the teaching resources, so they don't have to do that all on their own. They get a lesson plan every month. We're about to roll out video short bites for them to use in their classes. They also get templates for reaching out to preschools or facilities that they might want to work in. And they get to use our web platform. So they don't need a booking platform unless they really want one, but they can list their classes for enrollment right on our site. They get a beautiful profile page, which they can share with parents or schools or on their social media. And we offer them social media support. So that all kind of was in the works in 2019. We rolled out what you now see, the Pretzel Kids website, which was a new website with new branding, new colors, the new membership, right before the pandemic. Good timing, huh? So that's kind of where we are now, but it's been great because through the pandemic, we were able to offer our teachers all kinds of resources and tools. So A, they didn't feel alone, and B, they could pivot their classes online because we were able to do deals with online education platforms that really wanted to use our curriculum and classes. So to do this, we were able to parlay those opportunities to our member teachers. So really, we're in the business of connections, and we're in the business of support and helping our teachers be the best they can be, because when we get more teachers, we can serve more children. And the more children we serve, the more good we're doing in terms of helping them, deal with mental health and regulating emotions and getting fit.
So I'm going to back it up a little bit because I want to talk more about what happened when COVID hit. I know, platforms like Headspace and Calm, all of them boomed right after COVID. Did that same impact, did it have the same impact on your business as well? Was there a boom which you could not attribute to any of your marketing or sales activities, or how did you go through that phase of COVID when all things online were booming left, right, center?
Yeah, so it was tough. Luckily for us, our training platform was already online. So that's been online since late 2016, early 2017. So a lot of our competitors were in the yoga space, teacher training space. We're like, okay, we now need to have an online course. And that's not easy to just throw up that type of course online in a weekend, right? It took us months. So that was already there, but most of our teachers were really going into schools. So all of the schools shut down due to COVID. They were going into gyms. They were doing sign-up classes. Parents were not bringing their kids to any type of public class. So online, as well as a delivery method for actual teaching our kids yoga classes, was the only option we had, which left me with a couple choices. Either we build out our own digital studio platform where we offer Pretzel Kids classes, or I partner with other companies. And so I opted to partner with other companies because ultimately our goal is to get back into the schools and work with kids in a, in-person setting. So to take all the time and resources and money to build out our own platform, I just didn't want to go back into that business. I didn't want to be a studio. That's not really what we're doing now. So instead, I partnered with large scale online education companies and wellness companies that already have built out a digital platform for class delivery. And that was how we were able to shift quickly. So COVID was a bit of was an uptick for us in terms of how we were able to reach so many kids, and in terms of demand for our classes really grew during this time because parents were home with their kids. They were super stressed out. No one had any space. They were all in, no one was going anywhere, and they wanted healthy things for their kids to do. And their kids were glued to Zoom school all day long. So our goal, rather than build out a platform, was let's create curriculum that really transfers over to a video environment so we can actually get those kids so they're not like this, right, on a computer, but we can be a guide, but take them away from their computer and maybe even have them do visualizations, close their eyes, almost like they're listening to an app, but we're the guide for them. And then we're also doing activities where we're getting them moving and having fun. So we were able to partner with companies to deliver a lot of classes and content really fast. So by April 2020, we had a whole host of classes which were in super high demand. All of a sudden, parents were finding their way to us. Schools reached out to us. We were doing private programming for schools on Zoom as well, where they wanted to basically just Zoom in one of our instructors to the classroom. So that all happened during COVID. And I don't think that's going away. It's just, again, shifting. So as we go back into in-person classes, we'll continue with the online offerings, but it will be both. And slowly the in-person, I think, will come up and the online will go down versus the other way around.
So it's going to be like a mixed model. So let's talk about revenue, right? how is your revenue growth like since 2017 and post-COVID? How did it look now that you're partnered with so many schools and so many of these platforms? Did your revenue massively grow, or did it just offset all the costs? And how did you measure your revenue metrics?
Yeah, so our revenue, so we became a company in 2017. And so 2017, revenue has gone up every single year since,
That's great.
we launched, since 2017. 2020, when COVID first hit, I was like, oh no, what can we do to save our sales basically and continue to move forward. The other thing we witnessed is sales went down in terms of the number of teachers becoming Pretzel Kids members because they weren't going to be able to run classes, or they were moms that were dealing with 3 kids at home. And so we were making up for that, or trying to make up for that, by moving towards the online classes. So what we did was with all these partnerships with companies like OutSchool, Go Noodle, a couple other big company, Kid Pass, we were able to kind of curate all of our classes into one kind of page, virtual class page, where parents could go to one singular place rather than trying to search for a location for a class, because we didn't really have location-based classes at the time. They could find what they were looking for. So if they clicked, maybe they'd be actually logging in or signing up at one of these partners, but it would be a central place to go. And that was able to helped our sales go up, because we had these partnerships where we were getting a cut of the class sales for each enrollment. So that really helped. And our 2020 sales were actually up over 2019, which in the early stages of the pandemic, I did not expect that to be the case. But as it turned out, our sales were up. 2021 will go up again. So we're in a like this pattern.
Trajectory.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good pattern of things going up. 2021, as we shift back to in person, and things are still so in flux. So our online classes sales have dipped way down because it's summer and parents want their kids outside in most parts, at least of the US, where we are most predominant. So there's that, and sales are always down for the fitness business, like indoor fitness business in the summer anyway. So that's cyclical. But in addition to that, parents don't want their kids online if they don't have to be, and they're sending them to camp. So they want them outside, outdoors, playing with their peers, engaging, having those human interactions that they missed, and I don't blame them. So our summer sales are always down, but now, they've dipped way down for online classes. In September, we'll have to see. We're prepared for whatever. Sadly, if the Delta variant changes things and people stay home with their kids or have that option, I think our online classes will pick up again. Likewise, so will our in-person classes. And we're positioned to help our teachers do either online or go back into the schools.
That's great. So what does your future aspiration for the brand looks like? Are you going to launch a merch? Pretzel Kids is pretty powerful and cute name, and there are so many moments in your website that I see you have captured. Is there any merch that you're going to launch for your brand, or you're just going to go all out for training and partnering with schools and other platforms? So what is the way forward for you?
Yeah, so I think all of the above. We're going to keep kind of marching forward. Our business model has been proven to work, so we'll continue on that, which is membership for our teachers, continue to supply them with the resources they need to be successful in their communities, because I feel that's the best way to get our brand out there in a bigger way. If there's a teacher in a particular city or town, then and the kids are happy and the school is happy, the demand goes up because the school down the street also wants Pretzel Kids, which means we can reach out and try to bring in more teachers in that community and start growing that way. On the flip side, we also have contracts with schools in certain markets that we will continue to expand that. So as a school reaches out to us and they want a Pretzel Kids teacher, we will bring in a teacher and train them to run classes at that school. And then the third way, well, I guess there's 4, we'll continue our partnerships with the online providers because that's been huge. And we will also be developing new programs and packages. We're in the process of developing a couple new rollouts right now for schools, for gyms, and even for companies, for corporations that want to provide yoga and mindfulness classes to the children of their employees. So I think that's going to be another opportunity for us.
So as a wrap up, I think yoga is huge, so is mindfulness, and sure, parents are itching to start early on for their kids, and I'm convinced that Pretzel Kids is going to have a really bright future. So thanks for speaking with us today and sharing your beliefs and aspirations. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been a lot of fun.